Sri Lanka, which went to the simply finished up Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, has sponsored India's worry over the Kashmir issue, saying it is troublesome for New Delhi to acknowledge the $50 billion China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, as it experiences the heart of Indian interests. India, which skirted the prominent meeting, would have joined joyfully in the One Belt and One Road, OBR, activity of China, said Sarath Amanugama, Sri Lanka's pastor on special assignment. Lamentably, the issue is experiencing the heart of Indian interests. In the event that it was some uncontested area, India would have arranged out. Here particularly the Kashmir issue getting dragged into it, makes it troublesome for India to be adaptable. Amanugama, who went with Lankan Prime Minister Wickramasinghe to the two-day discussion here, told PTI in Beijing. He said India, China and Sri Lanka were especially some portion of the antiquated Silk Road course, as the Chinese Buddhist researchers like Faxian went to both India and Sri Lanka, prompting huge revelations of Buddhist relics in the island country. Chinese President Xi Jinping has underlined availability. These nations were associated numerous hundreds of years back. This will connect up these nations on certain balanced premise. Once the provincial issues are settled, then India needs to assume enormous part in the activity, he stated, adding that India in any case needs to assume huge part, since you can't think about a belt and street without going over and near India. Record picture of Sri Lankan PM Ranil Wickramasinghe. Getty Images file picture of Sri Lankan PM Ranil Wickramasinghe. Getty Pictures. India skirted the meeting because of its sway worries over the $50 billion PEC, which experiences Pakistan-involved Kashmir. The two-day gathering in Beijing united pioneers from 29 nations. Other than Wickramasinghe, the summit was gone to by Pakistan PM Nawaz Sharif, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and a few different pioneers, heads of UN, World Bank and IMF. Wickramasinghe, who touched base here a day after he facilitated Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Sri Lanka, had a relaxed nearness at the prominent summit. While Sharif and numerous different pioneers talked at the inaugural service, the Sri Lankan pioneer supposedly partook in the exchanges in the round-table meeting Monday. Amanugama said that Sri Lanka won't allow any outside military operations in its port by any nation including China, with an end goal to console India's security worries over Chinese military movement. Affirming reports that current Chinese ask for docking of its submarines was declined, he stated, "We denied the consent. Lanka's position is that our harbors and ports are for business operations. All different nations have no key interests. We are equidistant from everybody," he said. Prior, the issue came on the grounds that a Chinese submarine was permitted to be docked in Colombo Harbour by previous President Mahinda Rajapaksa in 2014, which started dissents from India. China, India, US and all different nations, they can't come into our regional waters without the assent of the Sri Lankan government, Amanugama said. Indeed, even the Hambantota harbour, which Sri Lanka arrangements to hand over to China under Obligation Value Plan, will work under Sri Lankan Port Authority, SLPA. He said in the ascension at present being finished to give 80 for every penny stake for Chinese Transportation Organization, it will be permitted to work inside the harbour, however all the outside operations will be done SLPA. The harbour ace who allows the ship development in the harbour will be a SAPA representative, he said. Easing India's worries, he said Sri Lanka is taking help from the Indian Navy to keep up oceanic security, including following submarines. India is additionally giving watch-water crafts, he said. About Hambantota Port, he stated, it is altogether a business operation. It was built with Chinese help, costing about $1.4 billion. It was built up amid the administration of Mahinda Rajapaksa, he said. In any case, we had an amplified obligation. Sri Lanka is confronting an issue of obligation reimbursement, he stated, Safeguarding Sri Lanka. Picking obligation swap for harbour. Sri Lanka has an expected obligation of $8 billion to China. The advances were taken for various Uber ventures. So a year ago we raised it with Premier Lee Keqiang. At first we requested an obligation alleviation, either to discount it or to reschedule installment. In any case, the Premier said it is impractical in light of the fact that they have loaned cash to a few different nations. We can't discount it to make point of reference, he said. In any case, proposed why not change over into value by shaping a joint wonder organization. It will be enlisted in Sri Lanka and will be Sri Lankan organization. Chinese side will change over that into value. Sri Lanka doesn't need to reimburse, he said, adding that it was a win-win circumstance.